what speed control are both players going to opt for? Is it going to be the Trick Room? Is it going to be the Tailwind? Trick Room probably a little bit easier to bring if you expect your opponent to bring the Tailwind. I think Tapu Fini here, an absolute essential Pokemon for a Naoto to bring, because that's probably his best means of dealing with the opposing Umbreon. Umbreon actually gives Stack Attack, Groudon, Lunala, and Salamence an immense amount of trouble. So I think a lot of this obviously will dictate how the Groudons match up against each other, but Tapu Fini and Umbreon will both be critical Pokemon for the trainers here.
Here we go. Both players have made their selections, and they're getting ready to jump into the match right now. Give it up for both of these players here.
Here we go.
This is it. This match is going to determine the world champion here at the in VGC Masters, as both players now get ready to send out their leads. Hirofumi leads with Groudon and Duskmane Necrozma, as Naoto leads with the Salamence and Lunala.
So Salamence and Lunala here having the option to potentially go for a Trick Room or a Tailwind initially. Big Intimidate off there on the opposing Groudon as well. Definitely makes its firepower significantly reduced. So there's so much speed control here out on the field immediately. Some of the strongest Pokemon on both players' side. Of course, the Lunala does have the advantage in terms of having a big, super effective attack off against the opposing Necrozma. I do have to watch for a potential Moongeist Beam. We've seen throughout the course of this tournament, it's not the Z move there on Lunala. Maybe switching out into the Groudon in the back.
Yeah, and Groudon on Hirofumi's side will switch out, does not want to stay in, take some big damage from that Salamence or that Lunala. Here comes the Umbreon! Umbreon takes the field here. Oh boy, the crowd favorite as Salamence reacts to it. It's going to go ahead and Mega Evolve here, so going to get that Aerial Aid ability and be able to dish some big damage out over onto the opposing side of the field. Duskmane Necrozma just wants to protect, does not want to get hit with a possible Moongeist Beam here from this Lunala, as Lunala does land an attack into that Duskmane Necrozma's protect. And here comes Salamence with a Hyper Voice, hits into that Umbreon, does no damage at all. Umbreon is so bulky.
Lunala actually opted for the Moongeist Beam, of course, Salamence being faster with the Mega Evolution. So Lunala coming out, launching Moongeist Beam, and Umbreon really taking those attacks quite nicely there. Either Pokemon, no speed control coming out, and Salamence now definitely in kind of an awkward spot. Won't be able to do too much damage with the Hyper Voice or Double Edge just to switch it out. And I think Groudon definitely an excellent Pokemon here to put on pressure with Prestice Blades.
Groudon's Prestice Blades will be able to do some major damage to that Duskmane Necrozma over on Hirofumi's side, but does also grant that Umbreon access to the Sunlight, which will allow Moonlight to heal back so much more HP than Naoto would actually enjoy seeing that Umbreon healing back. Here we go now, moving into the rest of the turn. Lunala again content to go for a Moongeist Beam here, hitting down what should be that Duskmane Necrozma to get some damage out onto that side of the field, and does good damage right there. Duskmane Necrozma hangs on with about 25% of its hit points remaining, and here comes a berry from this Lunala. That is going to be a Colbert Berry, reducing the amount of damage that this foul play is going to do. With that Choucher, that does nothing for a quadruple super effective hit there, as Duskmane Necrozma now gets to move, sets up a Trick Room here.
Yeah, so the Trick Room goes up, making the dynamic of this matchup really interesting. We'll have to see how all of these Pokemon are trained and which one will go first.
Here we go now, moving into the next turn. Lunala does not want to take another foul play from that Umbreon, switches out, trying to pivot and deal with this Trick Room as Tapu Fini takes the field. And as you mentioned, Aaron, that Tapu Fini is going to be big to try to deal with this Umbreon on Hirofumi's side.
All right, who moves first here? Looks like it will be the
Umbreon using Snarl, going to drop the special attack stat of the Groudon with a critical hit being dealt over there on the on Naoto's side of the field. That's going to be important to that Tapu Fini. Won't be dealing as much damage, but that Groudon we've seen before. And here it is, a huge Fire Punch into that Duskmane Necrozma, gets the KO, and that's a physical Groudon, so that Snarl's not going to matter at all.
Yeah, so opting for the Fire Punch instead of the more risky Prestice Blade just to get some guaranteed damage off. It's a big knockout there onto the Necrozma. Tapu Fini actually in a decent position right now, but
even then, a Twinkle Tackle is going to be dealing a lot of damage as Naoto's Groudon switches out.
Yeah, so not wanting
Salamence
to
takes the field here.
Yeah, not wanting to take a Prestice Blades there, perhaps knowing that his Groudon is faster. And
just the Moonblast though. Oh no, the Moonlight. Yeah, that's the Moonlight. Wrong moon move from my perspective there, as Umbreon heals back to full health. As and Nature's Madness from that Tapu Fini lands into Hirofumi's Groudon, dealing 50% damage right there. And wow, here's a Prestice Blades from that Primal Groudon, connects with that Tapu Fini, does good damage right there. bringing it down to a little under 50%.
Spot, sure, you can go for a hyper voice, but it's really nothing to deal with this Umbreon right now. And yeah, Umbreon in a perfect position to succeed.
Ooh, Hirofumi here reacting, and it looks like it's going to be a foul play into that Salamence slot. Good damage dealt over to that. And it's the Dragon Claw! Oh, Salamence hangs on! So Salamence hangs on with just 2 hit points here and uses Hyper Voice connecting with that Groudon and that Umbreon. Some damage over there, a critical hit, I believe, onto that Umbreon.
I mean, the Salamence really just isn't able to do very much right now, and yeah, Tapu Fini does pretty much have to switch out there, but whatever comes in is not going to appreciate taking a lot of damage here.
Yeah, and Lunala is the only Pokemon that can come in and take that switch, as Groudon on Hirofumi's side switches out as well. Hirofumi switches in the Tapu Lele, changing the terrain, as well as boosting Psychic-type moves. So that's one of the things about Tapu Lele. Great move right here from Hirofumi to switch in that Tapu Lele. A lot of these Tapu Lele tend to carry Choice Scarf, and with Trick Room expiring at the end of this turn, Tapu Lele will be able to have a speed advantage here. And here is a Snarl from that Umbreon, hits in that Salamence Protect, drops Lunala's special attack, which Lunala enjoys using here, and oh boy, Trick Room expires
now and can really just choose to do whatever it wants.
Yeah, and Lunala, forced to protect, does not want to take another attack from that Umbreon foul play or even a Snarl. And here's a Psychic from that Tapu Lele, connects with that Salamence and gets KO, all 2 hit points right there, as Umbreon uses his turn to attack into that Lunala.
Perfect position, getting these Snarls and foul plays off, and there is just nothing to deal with the Umbreon. Yeah, Groudon comes out, but once again, Lunala can't hit the Umbreon, and Groudon maybe can go for a Press Displays or a Fire Punch. I don't even think that's enough to get the knockout, and of course, Umbreon can just consistently heal.
Trick Room expires.
Yeah, so let's see if there's a Protect coming out from the Groudon right now, maybe to bypass the Psychic. That was definitely a potential attack.
Not at all. Primal Groudon takes the field instead on Hirofumi's side as Lunala switches out, resetting the terrain for Naoto's team. So the Misty Terrain is going to take effect here, probably allowing Groudon on Naoto's side to be able to survive a Psychic from that Tapu Lele, but here comes a Fire Punch. Oh, into that Groudon side. Oh, not even enough to get the KO. Big survival right there, and a foul play from the Umbreon does so much damage to that Groudon. Knock out each other's Groudons first. And here we go, coming into this turn, Groudon on Hirofumi's side protects itself, doesn't want to play a possible speed game here, and Groudon hits into Hirofumi's. No, yeah, Groudon actually hits into the Groudon on Hirofumi's side. And here's a Twinkle Tackle from that Tapu Fini.
Yeah, so looking like trying to just go for the safe target, not opting to risk a potential Press Displays here. Barium Z does come out. That is the best move to deal with the Umbreon. So yeah, no switch out from the Umbreon there into the Tapu Lele means that it probably will go down here. Let's see if it will do enough damage I expect it to.
No Snarls onto Naoto's side of the field. The Twinkle Tackle connects with that Umbreon, gets the KO. So that pesky Umbreon has been knocked out. And again, Naoto going for a Fire Punch here, just trying to target down in that ground, knowing that that Twinkle Tackle is about to KO that Umbreon anyways.
Let's see, though. That is the Choice Scarf Tapu Lele now returning to the field and having Psychic Terrain pressure, so able to do so much damage. We'll see what attack it chooses to lock itself into.
It takes away.
This is going to be such a big turn here.
Yo, Groudon protects itself, does not want to take that Psychic from the Tapu Lele at all, as Tapu Lele uses a move into that Groudon Protect, and here comes Hirofumi's Groudon.
Looks like the Groudon's faster. Yeah, it's going for Press Displays, and it connects with the Tapu Fini. That's absolutely huge.
Yeah, so that connects with that Tapu Fini and gets the KO from that range. So now it's down to both these players' last Pokemon in this exciting game 1 already, Aaron.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely critical there, of course, but the Groudon on Hirofumi's end is actually faster than the Tapu Fini on Nyoto's end. Of course, Groudon, a naturally faster Pokemon, but very difficult to know based off the team compositions here. And you force a 2v1 position in which you win. So let's see, is Groudon
gets the protect? He gets the double protect!
Oh my goodness!
Oh! And Tapu Lele forces Psychic in that Groudon's protect.
Lunala targeting though.
Lunala uses Moon Geist Beam here. What is this Moon Geist Beam going to target down? Some damage.
Oh, the opposing Groudon.
So safe play right there, yeah. So smart play right there, just get the KO on that Groudon immediately.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we were talking about, that, right? Hirofumi could have potentially baited out that Moongeist Beam by going in for Protect that turn, Protect there. I'm not actually sure it ended up mattering there because Moongeist Beam might just be able to knock out the Lunala. Let's see how much Psychic would have done to Lunala.
Oh, damage right there, but Lunala hangs on, so another Psychic is what is needed to be able to get the KO as Lunala's Moongeist Beam now crashes into that Tapu Lele, gonna deal some big, super effective damage here, and Tapu Lele just outright gets one-hit KO Naoto. takes game one in a thrilling set. Wow.
Certainly could be viable. I mean, Kangaskhan definitely could make a lot of sense here into the matchup as well. So let's see. Naoto is one game away from winning the World Championship, but Umbreon makes its appearance once again, this time as a lead.
Hirofumi leads Umbreon, Kozma, and over on the other side of the field, Naoto leads with Tapu Fini and the Lunala. Fairy type attack here as the turn progresses. Umbreon again forced to switch out. Doesn't want to risk getting one-hit KO'd immediately, and there it is, the Groudon, as you mentioned, Aaron. Great call there, buddy.
Groudon coming in, I think really pretty much the only option there. It switches in obviously quite nicely into any fairy type attacks. So the key question here is, did Naoto maybe predict this and not waste the Z move? I think Hirofumi might have been going with this lead intentionally to try to bait out the Z move, because if you can get it out immediately, that's such a big threat out of the way.
Yeah, and progressing with the rest of this turn, Dustmane and Kozma, Photon guys are into that Lunala, breaking that Shadow Shield right there. Not very effective damage at all, but the important part is it does get some chip damage out on that field as Lunala uses Moon Geist Beam here, targeting down that Dustmane and Kozma, and again, that does a lot of damage right there. Not enough to quite get the one-hit KO, but still getting as much damage out. And here comes the Nature's Madness!
What a great play there. Doesn't get baited, doesn't use the Z move. Of course, Umbreon there is going to switch out a lot of times, and even if it doesn't, you still get 50% of damage off. And getting that much damage off against Groudon is great. Naoto definitely winning the damage trade-off this first turn. Once again, recognizes need to conserve Tapu Fini to deal with the Umbreon in the back. Salmon's such a great switch in here to reduce the firepower from Groudon. And yeah, the Shadow Shield was broken on Lunala's end, but what's Hirofumi able to do in terms of damage right now, especially given like Groudon is intimidated?
Yeah, not that many offensive options here for Hirofumi, as another Photon Geyser is used. Oh no, sorry, an Ultra Burst here as Ultra Necrozma takes the field. You're gonna get a lot of great stat boost there and be able to dish a lot of damage, but instead Hirofumi using this turn to just protect itself. Doesn't want to get hit with another Moon Geist Beam as the Lunala uses that Moon Geist Beam into that slot. And here's a Fire Punch connecting with that Lunala, boosted by that Sunlight.
Yeah, obviously, what can go for something like a Hyper Voice or a Double Edge just to get a knockout, and Hirofumi actually going for the switch out here. Oh, but Naoto reacting positively. Did he maybe predict this?
Here is that Umbreon, and Salamence now Mega Evolves, getting that air related ability as well as boosting its speed, one of the fastest Pokemon in the format, as well as being one of the hardest hitters in this format as well. And
the Tailwind!
Salamence using Tailwind, gonna double the speed of the Pokemon on Naoto's side of the field as Lunala uses Moon Geist Beam here. Can get some great damage dealt onto the Groudon on Hirofumi's side. Hitting first. Wow! Yeah, Groudon hangs on Hirofumi's side though, and here's another Fire Punch, but again, those Intimidates are so important because Lunala hangs on.
Game really, really well so far.
Yeah, he's playing this board position game extremely well right here, saving that Tapu Fini for later on as the Groudon on Hirofumi's side switches out. Doesn't want to get KO'd yet, and Hirofumi sends out his own Salamence here with an Intimidate onto that Lunala. Not going to matter too much. The Intimidate might matter on that Salamence depending on if it does know Double Edge or not, as Lunala protects itself. Doesn't want to take a foul play from the Umbreon, and here is a Hyper Voice just going for consistent threat damage here, doing good damage to that Salamence and chipping away at that Umbreon, and there is that looks like it's nope, just a foul play right into that Lunala slot.
And if it is that Groudon, we'll be able to put on a lot of pressure. Salamence here probably wanting to reset that attack drop from the Intimidate, switching out, and Tapu Fini actually coming in because it can take attacks from the opposing Salamence decently well.
Yeah, and Salamence on Hirofumi's side switches out as well, saving that Intimidate for later, and the Groudon takes the field, but it is so heavily damaged right now, any attack will even be able to get the KO. Besides the Nature's Madness, I guess, but here comes the rest of the turn. How is this turn going to play out? Lunala uses Wide Guard, preventing possible snarls, so great defensive move right there to prevent but here's a foul play from that Umbreon into that Tapu Fini. A critical hit, not going to matter much at all because of Tapu Fini's low attack stat.
Regardless, I think Naoto really has a lot of control right now. Are there any protects? No, just no protect
at all. Lunala uses Moon Geist Beam here. Most likely going to target down that Groudon. Does target down that Groudon. Gets the KO. Critical hit again. That did not matter at all. Tapu Fini now gets to make a move, and it is the Twinkle Tackle.
Oh, such a great
that
call.
Umbreon, no snarls at all. We've seen it do so much damage to that Umbreon already, and this might be 2 quick knockouts for Naoto here. What a game this is. This Tapu Fini is out on the field at the right time, both games so far, being able to deal with this Umbreon that would otherwise give Naoto such a bad matchup here. And there goes Umbreon, a big knockout there. And now Naoto is only 2 KOs away from becoming the world champion here, Aaron.
Yeah, he hasn't even shown his last Pokemon. I feel like he has played this game perfectly. Right from the get-go, amazing lead, potentially calling the Umbreon lead there, putting on so much pressure. And a lot of how he's played this game is kind of methodical, right? You kind of distribute damage around. You don't just go for big knockouts because the team is quite a bulky team. So kind of chip away, get a Nature's Madness off here, do a little bit of Hyper Voice or Moongeist Beam there. I think Naoto might want to try to bait out the Z move from the Ultra Necrozma, maybe go for a Protect here on Tapu Fini. He still, of course, has 2 Pokemon in the back, one of them being that Salamence.
Yeah, as Salamence on Hirofumi's side, Mega Evolves now, getting that Air Raid ability, and here we go.
Yep,
Tapu Fini protects itself here. Doesn't want to take a possible Light That Burns the Sky from the Ultra Necrozma over on the inside. And there's a double edge from that. Mega Salamence connects with that Lunala and gets the KO. So Hirofumi clawing back here.
Does he commit the Z move? Oh, there it is. He does. That's a very, very big bait there. Being able to get that out means that it's a lot more difficult for Hirofumi to just get an effective one-hit KO here onto Tapu Fini. So very, very nice protect there. It was a really, really tough mind game, I think, from both players' end, but Naoto definitely getting the better end of the trade. I think had Hirofumi called it correctly, he'd actually still not be in the worst of positions, but Naoto having an early lead, kind of running away with it, and he still has 1 Pokemon, of course, waiting in the back. That's not that Salamence, presumably Groudon. However, just being able to get the Z move out here, that's the strongest move on Hirofumi's team. Very, very nice resource management there from Naoto's end, as that's a very, very big move committed.
Yeah, it's still some chip damage through that Protect on that Tapu Fini. Wondering if it will put it in range for a Photon Geyser to try to get the KO next turn. You know, this is a more of an offensive Tapu Fini, so it probably does not invest too much in bulk. Although, you know, Tapu Fini is naturally a bulky Pokemon.
One on his team and 2 of the strongest Pokemon with Groudon coming in here. The main thing here is that we've seen that this Groudon actually carries that Dragon Claw. Dragon Claw actually will be able to just get a knockout onto either of these Pokemon. And the thing here from Hirofumi is that, like, for example, you won't be able to just knock out both Pokemon here. I think Naoto most certainly will be able to get a relatively free knockout onto one of the opposing Pokemon. Photon Geyser won't be enough to knock out the Groudon, so maybe you hope for a Hyper Voice critical hit, but no, it's just a double edge.
There's a double edge from that Salamence, connects with that Tapu Fini. Tapu Fini gets KO'd. Now, what is this Ultra Necrozma going to be able to do to this Groudon here? Or is Groudon just going to be able to seal the deal here for Naoto? And
here's the Earth Power. Is the critical hit?
How much damage does it do? How much damage? Groudon hangs on! Groudon hangs on. There's a special defense drop right there as Groudon now moves here. Uses Fire... Oh, no, the Dragon Claw connects with that Ultra Necrozma and gets the KO.
So close to knocking out the Groudon there, but the way it's trained, the bulk allows it to survive, and now it is a 2v1 matchup. I mean, Naoto, yeah, just needed to get 1 knockout here. Salamence comes out still very, very healthy. There is pretty much no way here, I think, for Hirofumi to be able to win this one. Even a Hyper Voice critical hit won't be enough to get a knockout there. His win condition that last turn was pretty much, I need to get a critical hit. No critical hit comes out.
The last turn of the game, most likely, and there is a Hyper Voice from the Salamence on Hirofumi's side. Gets the KO on the ground, but here comes Naoto Salamence with an attack. Here's a double edge, and Naoto Mizobuchi is your 2019 Pokemon Video Game World Champion. Clean 2-0 set. What an exciting set between both of these players.
Wow.
Amazing play, amazing display of trying to maintain that board position, being able to keep that offensive up, and Hirofumi had his back to the wall the entire way in Game 2.